Shalom לכל ישראליתים בישראל בהרבות כנפות של הארץ. קם זקן אסף בן עמי קריספין לוי אשר מדבר איתכם, ואני הייתי רוצה להמשיך עם לימודים של תורה. שיהוה תוכל לפתוח שהלים שלהם, שהלים שלנו, אשר אנחנו נוכל להבין מצוות, חוקים ומשפטים של תורה. בבזה רגע אני לדבר עם ישראליתים אשר מדברים לשונה אנגלית. תודה רבה לשים לב שלך. Here it's Elder Asaf Benami Crispin Levi, me Brazil, we are going to continue with the studies of the Torah. We stop at the item about the ritual purity and item number 101, and now we're going to 102. Thank you very much for your attention, and the Eternal One bless you and your family. And we're going to read the item 102. Any clothing contaminated with a spreading disease is ritually unclean. These verses that speak about the leprosy and the contamination of the leper as well, and they're very long, but we can speak according Yahweh's words, according to the words that came out from Yahweh's mouth. Then I invite you to follow with me in Vaikra, Leviticus, chapter 13, verses 47 to 59. Beseder, all right, verses 47. And when a garment has an infection of leprosy in it, in a woolen garment or in linen garment, or in the warp, or in the weft, or linen, or wool, or in leather, or any leather work, and the infection shall be greenish or reddish in the garment, or in the leather, or in the warp, or in the weft, or in any leather object. It is an infection of leprosy, and shall be shown to the priest. And the priest shall look at the infection, and shoot up the infected one 7 days. And he shall look at the infection on the 7th day, and when the infection has spread in the garment, or in the warp, or in the weft, or in the leather, or any leather work, the infection is an active leprosy. It is unclean. And he shall burn that garment, or the warp, or the weft, in wool, or in linen, or any leather object in which the infection is. For it is an active leprosy, it is burned with fire. But if the priest looks and sees that the infection has not spread in the garment, or in the warp, or in the weft, or in any leather object, then the priest shall give command, and they shall wash that in which the infection is, and he shall shoot it up another 7 days. And the priest shall look at the infection after it has been washed and see. If the infection has not changed its appearance, though the infection has not spread, it is unclean, and burn it in the fire. It is eaten away in its inside or outside. And if the priest shall look and see that the infection has faded after washing it, then he shall tear it out of the garment, or out of the warp, or out of the weft, or out of the leather. And if it is still seen in the garment, or in the warp, or in the weft, or in any leather object, it is a spreading infection. Burn it with fire, that in which the infection is. And if you wash the garment, or the warp, or the weft, or any leather object, if the infection has disappeared from it, then it shall be washed a second time, and shall be clean. This is the Torah of the infection of leprosy, in a garment of wool or linen, or in the warp, or in the weft, or in any leather object, to pronounce it clean or to pronounce it unclean. Well, everybody knows that the first step that the person who is in a suspect of a leper or leprosy, and he or she goes to the priest to show him. And the priest made an evaluation upon them, and if this person was not unclean, was not clean, and he or she stayed 7 days in observation, and was declared impure, he or she stayed out of the camp. Well, now this, we read about the offerings, we read about the conditions that the man was leprosy, and now we're going to see, we're going to study about the clothes of this man or this woman who was leprosy. Well, because the leper, okay, the Surah, and she doesn't respect nor clothes, nor house, nor the body of the man or the woman, okay. And each attacked the man in all the body, in his house as well, and in his clothes. Well, and this man needed to pass by the Kohen, by the priest, because the priest is an intermediate between the high spirit and the man. One man with it is in sin, that it sinned. He could not go directly to pray or to speak with the high spirit. He needed to pass firstly by the Kohen to confess his sins, because it's the Torah, it was a law. And because that Yahushua HaMashiach is seated upon the throne and in front of the high spirit, and he makes the Keporah, the expiation for us, for our sins. And nowadays, because it's a law. The Torah, the law, the Torah that the Eternal gave to Moshe to transmit to us is eternal. And the Eternal One took like as witness the earth and the skies and all the earth. Well, let's meditate in these questions. Well, any clothing contaminated with a spreading disease is ritually unclean. In the item 47, and when a garment has an infection of leprosy in it, in a wool garment or a linen garment, or in the warp or in the weft or of line or wool or in leather or any leather work, and the infection shall be greenish or reddish in the garment, or in the leather or in the warp or in the weft or in any leather object, it is an infection of leprosy, and shall be shown to the priest. And because that Yahushua, when he cured the leprous man, and he spoke with them, he spoke with one of them, go show to the priest, like Moshe ordained in the Torah. Okay, because Yahushua fulfilled the Torah in all its ways. Well, we're going to see each in the oral law. Oral law. This item number 102. Job, book of Job, chapter 13, verses 8. Job, Job, verses 18. Verses 18. By great exertion is my garment changed. It gives me as the color of my coat. By great exertion is my garment changed. My garment changed. It gives me as the color of my coat. Then Job was leprosy, and the cloth of the leprosy was impure as well. Okay, was impure as well. And then he speaks, it's oral law. It's not written yet. The Eternal One blew in the ears of the man in that time, because there wasn't any idiom, any language written, any alphabet. The man depended upon the cuneiform written and the hieroglyphical written in that time. But we're going to see this item number 102, any clothing contaminated with a spreading disease is ritually unclean. In Yahushua's time, and his Talmudim's time as well. Luke, chapter 5, verse 12 to 14. Luke. Luke chapter 5. Chapter 5, verse 12 to 14. And it came to be when he was in a certain city that see a man covered with leprosy, so Yahushua. And he fell on his face and begged him, saying, Master, If you desire, you are able to cleanse me. And he stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I desire it, be cleansed. And immediately the leprosy left him. And he ordered him to say it to no one, but go and show yourself to the priest, and make an offering for your cleansing, as a witness to them, as Moshe commanded. Then Yahushua cited the law of Moshe. After he has cured that man, he ordered then, you don't speak to anyone, and you go and to show to the priest and to make an offering like Moshe ordered in the Torah. And you can see here the beautiful of the law of the Eternal One. Well, in item number 103, a house contaminated by a spreading disease is ritually unclean. We're going to read it in the next Thursday. I thank your attention. God bless you. And many persons has asked our bank account for to give the tithe and the offerings, and I'm going to leave here. Okay, this, and the bank account is number 1406433 variation 51 saving, and the agents is 044035, and the bank is Bank of Brazil. It's the bank account that receives our contributions. Okay. Yawa Baruch Ata Veramish Pahagam, Yawa Baruch Gam Ra Avodah Shelcha, Avodah Shelah, Baruch Ol Kol Hahushi Ata Masim Rayadaim Shelcha. Toda Rabah Lechrasim Lev Shelcha, e toda Rabah להזדמנות אשר העולם יהוה נותן לי לדבר איתכם על תורתך, שכחו שאני לא אשיגתי לדבר, שיהוה יוכל לשלם ברע דברים רע אלה. תודה, שלום שלום להתראות. זאת התפילתי להם. תודה רבה.